So what's up, boss buddies? Hope everyone's doing really well. Now, I don't know about you, but I myself do love a nice woody, spicy fragrance. So I thought I'd put together my top 5 favorites for spicy woody fragrances. So I'll be right back in just a second. So welcome back, my name's Scott and I'm the Luxury Fragrance Boss, and of course you're watching the Luxury Fragrance Boss channel. If you do enjoy my content and you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button right below. So let's talk about my top 5 spicy woody fragrances. Now, one thing I really love, especially sort of this time of year, is something that's quite nice and spicy and warm and woody. So it's got sort of some fresher notes in there, but also some sort of warm, spicy notes as well. So it just gives a beautiful blend of a beautiful blend of notes that just makes something very, very beautiful, very, very wearable for most times of the year, for pretty much most occasions as well. So without further ado, let's get into my top 5. Now, just before I do, of course, I always like to include an honourable mention. Now, this one is one of my favourite fragrances. The only reason I've not put it in the top 5 is because it is a spicy fragrance, but I wouldn't classify it as sort of having too many spicy notes in it. So that's why I've gone with my honourable mention being Viking by Creed. This is one of the ones that, I mean, this is my favourite Creed from, this is my favourite fragrance from the House of Creed, sorry. One thing I do really love about this one is I love the way they've used the citrus notes and they've used the different sort of peppers and the woody notes that are in this one to make something sort of really fiery, but also quite fresh at the same time. As I said, it means it can be used or it can be worn at really any time of year. In the summer, you've got those sort of those cooler notes in the citruses that make it sort of a nice sort of fresh fragrance to wear. But then also in the winter, you've got those sort of spices and those warmer notes in there that make it very easy to wear in the winter as well. So it's something for all seasons, and it's also very, very beautiful and sort of, I think this one's quite a unique smelling fragrance as well. As I said, this one is my favorite from the House of Creed. Now, just to go over the notes in this one, as I said, you've got you got the citrusy notes in the top. So you got Calabrian Bergamot, you got Sicilian lemon, and then pink pepper. And in the heart notes, you got pepper, Bulgarian rose, and peppermint, again giving that sort of freshness to it. And then in the base notes, you got Indian Sandalwood, Haitian Vetiver, Indian Patchouli, and Lavandin. And they go together to make such a beautiful and well blended fragrance. Out of all my Creeds, I'd say, as I said, this one is my favorite, and this is the one that I will wear the most. So my wife is also a big fan of this one as well, so that always helps helps me choosing when it comes to putting on my own fragrances, rather than just the ones that I'm testing. So in my honourable mention for this one is Creed Viking. Right, so let's get down to the top 5 then. Now, in number 5, I've put one of my favourite fragrances. Now, the reason it sits at number 5 is because it's not the spiciest fragrance that I'm going to sort of mention or even in my collection, but it is one that I really, really love. And again, another reason that I put it in number 5 is because it can be quite a polarizing fragrance. It's one of those fragrances you either love it or you hate it. I myself absolutely adore this fragrance. This is the one I wore for my wedding because my wife also loves it so much. It's something that's, I think this is a very, very unique sort of smoky blend of, the one I'm talking about is obviously Interlude. Now, many of you know, if you watch my channel regularly, I've not mentioned this one in a video for quite a little while now, but in the beginning when I did my channel, this obviously hit quite a few of the top 5, so it's nice to be able to bring this one back in my sort of spicier fragrances. This one is just such a beauty. It's such a beautiful sort of blend of, the way it smells to me is like a sexy bonfire mixed with kind of a barbecue grill, really, if that makes any sense, if that can sound sexy at all. But there's some use of incense notes in there as well, which is, I think, the polarizing part, because I think the incense sometimes can be a little bit overpowering and it can turn certain people off of this one. For me, myself, though, I absolutely love this one, and majority of people that I run into do really enjoy this one. And if you are looking for something that's absolute beast mode, I think this is probably the strongest in my collection. Another one that I featured in this top 5 as well, which will be coming in later, is also another beast mode fragrance. As many of you know, I do like my stronger fragrances. But yeah, this one here, just to go over the notes that are in this one. In the top notes, you've got the Bergamot, Oregano, and Allspice. In the heart notes, you've got Amber, Opoponax, Incense, and Cistus. And in the base notes, you've got Leather, Oud, Patchouli, and Sandalwood. And as I said, they go together to make such a beautiful, sort of smoky and spicy fragrance. So in number 5, we've got Interlude Man by Amouage. Right, so for number 4, I picked one that I recently discovered. I ordered a couple of sort of discovery sets recently that came in around, I think around Christmas time, which I've gradually been working through, along with, of course, all the other samples that I've got to work through as well, including all my Clive Christians and now Fragrance de Bois as well. But the discovery set that I got that I've been really, really impressed with so far has been Widian. Now, some of you may know of these as AJ Arabia as well, which was their previous name. But yeah, Widian, the Black collection. The one I've picked for my number 4 is Black I, which is just absolutely mind-blowing, sort of beautiful, sort of warm, spicy fragrance. It's got some absolutely stunning notes in there. I mean, like I say, one thing I've been impressed with is just the beautiful blending of the Widian fragrances. They're all quite they've got decent projection as well. I've tried 1 to 4 so far, and my favorite of all of them has been number 4, but it's not really a spicy fragrance, it's more of a woody one. But so this is why number 1 is in my spicy collection, or my spicy top 5. Like I say, I've really enjoyed all of them. Number 3 was probably the only one that I found a tiny bit bland, but all of them, it's definitely worth picking up this discovery set because there are some stunning fragrances in there. I've still got number 5 to check out. Just to go over the notes of Black I. In the top notes, you got cinnamon and cardamom, so there's your spices right there. In the heart notes, you got incense, cypress and sandalwood. And in the base notes, you got musk and cedarwood. And as I said, it makes such an absolutely stunning fragrance. I know quite a lot of people are split between sort of Black I and Black II as far as their favorites go. For me, like I said, I recently tried number 4, and I think that's one that probably hasn't been explored by too many people. But yeah, Black I, if you're looking for something nice and warm and spicy, definitely check this one out and definitely get your hands on that discovery set. It is a little bit higher price, but it's well worth the money in my opinion. So in number 4, we got Widian's Black I. Right, so now we're into the top 3, my top 3 favorite spicy fragrances. Now, number 3, I've gone with one that has been compared to Spice Bomb, really. So I'm sure there's quite a few of you out there that are familiar with Spice Bomb. I know it's a very popular designer fragrance. This one's kind of a more refined Spice Bomb, using obviously much better quality ingredients, and it really is an absolutely stunning and very, very sexy fragrance. And the one I'm talking about is 1899 by Histoires de Parfums. This one really is absolutely stunning. I mean, if you're looking for something very, very sexy, something similar to that Spice Bomb, but something that's going to have a massive, well, not massive projection, but much better projection and way better longevity. One of the things I know about Spice Bomb is it is quite weak when it comes to its longevity and its overall performance. This is something you will not struggle with. Something that I was really impressed with, especially for the price of the Histoires de Parfums collection. I mean, they run a majority of them around sort of $135, I think, for sort of for 100 ml, which is, I mean, for the quality of the fragrance, it is very, very impressive for the value for money. I mean, again, their discovery set is one that's well worth picking up and trying out. There's some absolutely stunning fragrances in there. Out of the set though, this was one of my favorites. My wife also loved This Is Not a Blue Bottle, which I also tried as well, and it works for both of us. It definitely smells much better on my wife though than it does on me, as great as it does smell on me. But 1899, if I was to pick a favorite out of the Histoires de Parfums discovery set, or out of their collection that I've tried so far, it'd definitely be 1899. Now, just to give you an overview of the notes in this one, in the top notes, you've got Italian Bergamot, Juniper and Black Pepper. In the heart notes, you've got Orange Blossom, Florentine, Iris and Cinnamon. And in the base notes, you've got Vanilla, Vetiver and Amber. As I said, these go together to make something quite similar to Spice Bomb with much, much better performance and much, much better quality. So it's like a much more refined version of Spice Bomb. And like I say, absolutely stunning fragrance. Well worth checking out. So 1899 by Histoires de Parfums is my number 3. Right, so in number 2, we've got one that I recently discovered. Well, not so recently, it was back in the beginning of October. This was back when I was in Miami and I was going through Osme Perfumery with the manager there, manager owner Morris, and sniffing through all the different bottles and stuff like that, all the different niche brands that he had, and sort of picking out all the samples that I wanted to sort of take away and then give a sort of full testing to. I mean, one of the things that I will say is I probably didn't get as many as I would have done. I was getting a little bit nose blind after a while, after sort of 2 or 3 hours of smelling all the different fragrances. But after I picked all of them out, he did actually give me some from Cardomom Barcelona, and one of the ones that I was really impressed with as far as sort of a beautiful sort of powdery kind of spicy fragrance was definitely Black Calamus, or Black Calamus, sorry. This one this was the first one that I actually tried from Cardomom Barcelona, and I really did fall in love with this one. Gives it a second to settle. It does smell quite sort of, I'd say quite bleachy when it first goes on, but it does settle down into something that's really beautiful, really powdery, very smooth, and very long lasting as well. Now obviously when it comes to me recommending different fragrances and all the top 5s, one thing you can always be guaranteed is decent projection and great longevity. I'm a huge fan of performance, and when I'm spending the kind of money, as I've said in previous video, that I do on fragrances, I want to know that they're going to last. I wear all my fragrances for me, not so much for anyone else. If I get compliments, that's beside the point. It's always nice to have a compliment and know you smell good, but I wear my fragrances for me to enjoy them throughout the day. So I want something that I can always smell throughout the day, and that's exactly what these ones give me. Some of these obviously are already a part of my collection, like the Viking Interlude Man and my number 1, which I'll be coming up with in just a second. Others are ones that I want to add to my collection. Black Calamus is definitely one of those, and the Widians as well. Quite a few of the Widians I'd love to add to my collection, and I hope to in the near future. But this one here, just to give you an overview of the notes now, this one's got quite a long-winded list of notes, but let's get into it. So in the top notes, you've got Indian Calamus essence, Malabar pepper, Moroccan coriander seed, Egyptian papyrus extract. In the heart, you've got Andalusian Lavandin and resin, Andalusian Cistus concrete, Chinese osmanthus absolute, and Turkish rose absolute. In the base notes, you've got Mexican vanilla extract, oudwood accord, Omani frankincense, and Spanish cade essence. So again, like I say, they like to sort of regionalize where they're getting their ingredients from, but this one's absolutely stunning. I mean, I remember wearing this in the sunshine, walking through Miami when it was very hot, and enjoying every second of it, despite the fact it is a more warming fragrance and probably better suited to the winter. But for me, I really enjoyed this. It was like in the heat as well, which is always good. I mean, that one great thing about spicy fragrances is they are fantastic in the winter. I mean, but these are ones that I enjoy here in Cayman Islands, where it's like early 80s, mid 80s, majority of the year. So I can still enjoy all of these in that heat. And as I said, because a lot of these have got fresher notes in as well, which sort of bring out sort of a lightness to them for the summertime. So in number 2, we've got Black Calamus by Cardomom Barcelona. Right, so into my number 1 now. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you may already have had a good guess at which one this one is. My number 1, it's definitely one of my favorite fragrances. It's definitely one that I think would be in my all-time top 5 because it well deserves it. Again, another beast mode fragrance. One I absolutely love. It's got some beautiful fresh notes and some amazing spicy notes in there. And the one I'm talking about, of course, is Penhaligon's Halfeti. This is one of the best fragrances I think I've ever smelled. I really did fall in love with this one when I was in San Francisco about 14 months ago, something like that. When I was out in San Francisco a year ago, back it would have been a year from October. So I was out there and I come across the Penhaligon's boutique in San Francisco. I went in there and I went sniffing a few of their fragrances because I'd only tried, there was a few of them I tried, like Tragedy of Lord George, Endymion, and a couple of the others. But I'd never really sort of been too impressed with the house until I tried this one. Now this one I got to spray on. I really enjoyed it sort of just from smelling the bottle straight away. I like because it is a very unique fragrance. Like I say, it's quite a spicy fragrance. The inspiration for this one is actually the trade routes between Turkey and England. So obviously there's lots of different sort of spices and herbs and things like that go into this one. But mixed with like the fresher notes and things like that, it just makes an absolute stunning fragrance. But yeah, when I discovered this one, as I said, I really did enjoy it straight away, and then I sprayed it on my arm. Now, and the reason I didn't get it that day was because they only had one in stock, and I went off to go and walk around the rest of the mall to find out sort of if I really enjoyed it, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. By the time I got back to the boutique, less than I think 30 minutes later, they'd they'd sold the last bottle though. So unfortunately I had to wait until last March when my parents were here and they were coming over from England. But thankfully the prices in England for Penhaligons are much better anyway. So it was a win-win situation, I guess. Other than the fact I had to live with 5 months without this amazing fragrance. Just to give you an idea, going over the notes, as I said, there's some fresh notes and some really sort of beautiful, sort of warm, spicy notes in there. In the top, you've got grapefruit, bergamot, green notes, and amouage. In the heart notes, you've got lavender, cardamom, cumin, nutmeg, saffron, violet, cinnamon, rose, jasmine, cypress, and muguet. So just in the heart notes alone, you've got a whole bunch of spices and herbs in there. In the base notes, you've got leather, oud, amber, resins, cedarwood, patchouli heart, tonka, vanilla, sandalwood, and musk. So a very long list of notes, but beautifully put together and beautifully blended. If you haven't tried Halfeti, I would say this is the one to try from Penhaligons. Recently they released I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's I think it's something Mr. Sam, Blazing Mr. Sam it's called. To me, it smells exactly the same. I don't know whether it's supposed to be a slightly lighter version or a slightly heavier version of Halfeti. I mean, Halfeti is one of those fragrances that sort of, as soon as I smell it, I know exactly what it is. I had an experience when I was in London and they pump it out of sort of vents out of their boutiques in London, and I could smell it from across the street. I was like, I can smell Halfeti, and I walked across the street, and then of course I didn't actually know the Penhaligons boutique was there, but yeah, and stumbled across that and then found out that's exactly what they were pumping out. But when I smelled Blazing Mr. Sam, it smelled exactly the same. I can't speak for the performance or anything like that. This one is, as I said, absolutely beast mode. This is one of those sort of few fragrances, this and Interlude in fact, one of those few fragrances that you can spray it on in the morning, it'll go all day, all night, you can go out for the evening and you'll still be able to smell it just as much the next morning. I've even showered the next morning, I can still smell this on my skin after sort of giving myself a good scrub. So it is a very a beautiful fragrance. If any fragrance there was that's going to last on you, I'm happy it's this one, and also Interlude as well. I have the same experience with Aventus when I do wear Aventus, which is very rarely now. But as usual, please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your top fives as well. I hope you enjoyed my top 5 spicy fragrances. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Luxury Fragrance Boss. That way you keep up to date with my scent of the day. Anything else that I've got going on anytime I'm releasing videos. Speaking of which, don't forget to hit that bell icon. That makes sure that you'll never miss another video because you get notification every time I'm releasing a new one. Other than that, stay smelling fantastic. I look forward to seeing you very soon in my next video or review, and thank you very much for watching.